Welcome to this afternoon's qualifying session here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
Yes, hello everyone and welcome to the British Grand Prix, another episode in my F1 2016 career mode. I hope you enjoyed the last episode. Well, from what I've seen from the comments, a lot of you like cardboard, I don't know why. But anyway, here we are at my home Grand Prix, qualifying 11th in Q1, which is nice to see, and the usual suspects going out in Q1 obviously. Last episode was a good episode, really. And in this episode, in this qualifying session, we had exactly the same as last time, where all the AI, well, most of the AI, apart from three of us, managed to qualify on dry tyres when it was wet, and I couldn't qualify at all. So, me and Vettel are starting 14th and 15th, I think it is. So, not a great start to the weekend, but I'll hand over now to Anthony Davison and Crofty to introduce you to the race.
We're right back where it all began. The very first World Championship Grand Prix was held here at Silverstone in 1950, with Giuseppe Farina taking the top step of an all-Alfa Romeo podium. He earned 9 championship points that day on his way to the inaugural title. His winning total at the season's end, just 30 points. My, how times have changed. So let's see who can reach the top step of the modern podium today.
It's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
I mean, cheers, Jeff, for that cunning and absolutely amazing advice there for the home Grand Prix. You know, not the fact that I'm starting down in 14th editing is a massive issue for Ferrari, or you know, my teammates starting down where I am anyway. But we're now going to 5 lights, and it's lights out and away we go for the British Grand Prix here. We had a relatively good start. I mean, you know, not been able to overtake anyone. I think Vettel is down our outside. I've just no Crofty, and there's been a huge incident. What's going on here? We've just gone straight into the back of Force India, and that's the front wing gone. So this is on board with Hulkenberg. That's a Red Bull in the way, and that's his front tyre gone. And now this is it was Max Verstappen actually that wow. It was actually Max Verstappen that had the incident, so that caused a virtual safety car. That was a entertaining start to the race. I'll say entertaining for the crowd, but not for me because I lost my front wing. But anyway, moving on to the end of the lap now. We get swarmed by cars because we got no front wing, but we're coming into the pits now anyway. I slowed down a bit too early for the pit entry, because I wasn't really concentrating on the pit entry. Anyway, we're now, you know, going into the world's longest and slowest pit lane ever. I really don't know why they decided to do this pit lane at 37 miles per hour. I mean, it's hardly a road circuit. As far as I know, in F1, the only reason why you should have a 37 mile per hour speed limit in a pit lane is because it's a road circuit or a street circuit. But obviously, it's going to be a road circuit. I mean, what am I on about? What am I? I'm trying to fill time whilst this pit stop ends because it's the longest pit stop in the world, and we come out in no man's land. Really, we're by ourselves, so this should be an entertaining few laps for myself. But obviously, for you guys, you're not going to see it. So anyway, moving on to lap 3, I think it is now. Yeah, lap 3. We've now got Sergio Perez right behind this massive train of cars, and there appears to be a car just. There's another Red Bull stayed there, stationary, that's the word, in the middle of the road. I mean, what's happened there? So everyone's had to avoid it. I mean, there's Verstappen behind this Sauber. Sauber? What is wrong with me today? Behind the Toro Rosso, that's the word. But anyway, moving on to lap 4 now. I'll just get away from that. We now have sights going around the outside of... Wow, where did that Force India come from? We've got sights going around the outside of the McLaren Honda, the slowest car in the world, before cops. And then we've got Max Verstappen trying to go around the outside. And we've got the Force India going down the inside. 3 wide through cops. And the Force India manages to come out on top. I'm showing all these different replays because they all have different camera angles. And I think this one's better camera angle to look at. As you see there, with 3 wide and the Force India comes out on top. I know you can't see it, it's off screen. But moving on later onto that lap, the same Toro Rosso is now moving down the Wellington Straight or the Hangar Straight. I can't remember. One of you is going to correct me for that. But it goes down the inside of both the Manas and job done. And now we have on lap 5 Max Verstappen going down the inside of Rio Haryanto, I think that is. So he's slowly making his way through the field. Which isn't really good for me, considering I'm in the middle of nowhere. Speaking of me, this is the most action I saw in a while, and it was everyone in the pits making a pit stop, obviously, and that was a voice crack. I mean, and then Max Verstappen just goes past me on soft tyres for some reason. He's on softs, and that was last time I saw him. So moving on to lap 8 now, as this commentary just gets worse and worse and worse. We're now looking at Carlos Sainz, I think that is, overtaking a Sauber. That is a Sauber, or trying to overtake a Sauber, but he didn't really manage to. And now we have that Sauber. We're now concentrating on that Sauber, trying to overtake the Renault in front of him. I think it's Kevin Magnussen, is it? We now got on board with Ericsson. They go side by side through this corner, and that's some good racing there. Magnussen held it around the outside. I've never actually seen that from the AI before, but here I am trying to get past Palmer, but never mind, I'm coming into the pit lane anyway. Seriously, up until this point in the race, that was the most action I saw. And I know a lot of you are going to say that's an innuendo for my life, but you know, that's the most action I saw during this race, and I mean, it was literally the most boring race I've ever had in my life. But as I'm in the pit lane now, you see me there in the background, we've got a Sauber trying to go the inside of the Force India here in the first corner, and I think, yep, he just about gets past him. So it was a good move from the AI there actually. As I fitted the medium tyres, I didn't bother showing you the pit stop because you know it's just the usual thing of changing tyres and that's it really. So as we come out the pit lane now, in last place once again. Oh, this race just goes from bad to worse, really. I don't know how it can get worse than that, but moving on to lap 12 now, we now have Max Verstappen, I think it is, or is it Ricardo, I can't remember, trying to get past the Force India and the Sauber. They both go past the Sauber, and the McLaren make contact with the Sauber, which is quite strange. I mean, this was behind them, this happened behind them, so I'm just showing you a replay of Gutierrez getting past the Sauber. And then there's the McLaren spinning, and it comes back on track, and he's out. So that's happened, and now that's caused another virtual safety car. So this race is full of virtual safety cars, not safety cars. But as it's ending, we just get back to normal racing here, and you know, I know this race hasn't really seen much of me, but honestly, not a lot happened. Moving on to lap 13 now, we're now on board with, is that Bottas? Yeah, that's Bottas. As he has an engine failure. Oh, that's big. That's a massive engine failure, because he was running in the top 4, I think. So, anyway, moving on to lap 14 now, we finally have a piece of action from our own camera. Yes! As we go past the manor of Wehrlein. Yes, I'm saying that's the best piece of action I'll probably see this entire race, because it's a manor and it's Wehrlein. But anyway, moving on to lap 15 now, coming through Magnussen, Beckett and Chapel. We take a kind of an alternative line through there to try and get the better exit on Haryanto, I think this is Haryanto obviously. And we get DRS, and we try to overtake both of them, and we just about overtake the Haas as well. So we're slowly, gradually getting back into this race, as we're staying on board now. As you can see on the mini map, quite a lot of people are in the pits. So I don't know where this is going to put us in the race, but I think it's going to put us 12th, is that? Yeah, 12th. So we've now got Gutierrez behind us and Ericsson ahead of us. So that shows how far down the field we are. But as more people have pit actually. So we're now into P9. P7, sorry. It just keeps on getting better and better. But as we're now coming up to our pit stop, we are currently in P5. But obviously that's going to change with the pit stop. As we run over the debris from the crash from earlier. But this race hasn't really gone as well as expected, really, because the crash at the beginning of the race, then there was the virtual safety cars, and then there was the I can't remember what else it was. What am I on about? This commentary is so terrible. Oh, what am I doing? Anyway, going on to another set of mediums for the last 6 laps. I know I could have gone on to softs, but just to be safe, because I was seeing some of the AI only going 5 laps on softs, so I wasn't really keen on going on softs until the end of the race. But as we now come on to lap 20, we now got some, I think this is AI action ahead of us. Oh no, this is actually us overtaking someone else again. As we now pass this Sauber, I think that's Ericsson. We're now going to go down the inside of him, going into Stowe, and there we go, job done. So you know, it was a relatively boring race after this, really. Only this happened. Sergio Perez trying to go down the inside of Danny Kvyat, I think that is, into Cox, but he didn't quite work. And this is me behind them. That's them in front of me, going side by side. That's how much time they've lost going side by side through minus Betis and Chapel. So you know, this should be an intriguing battle for 12th, 13th, and 14th. I mean, you know, a race goes badly when you're racing for 12. Is it 12? Yeah, 12. So as we now go down the inside of Danny Kvyat, job done, and now we just have to try and get past Sergio Perez into a corner. As we now have DRS and now coming down into Brooklands. Is this Brooklands? Yeah, this is Brooklands. As we now try and go around the outside, and all of a sudden there's a yellow flag, and apparently there's a problem with Perez. I don't know what the issue is, but he just all of a sudden slowed down, so let's get a replay of that. I'll just shut up a minute so you can hear what happens. Does he get a puncture? It sounded like a puncture. And this is a slow-mo of what happened, and yes, he gets a puncture. That's so unfortunate. On the second to last lap as well, he gets a puncture. I mean, could you get any more unlucky? And this is Gutierrez now, that's Perez there, and Gutierrez just plows straight to the back of him, and that's his race over because he loses the tyre. But that was it until the last lap of the race, really, as we come across the line for a very disappointing 12th place.
Not good enough. Not good enough at all. Let's push harder next time, okay?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it?
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So, as you can see from the results there, from that disappointing home Grand Prix, Hamilton comes home in first. That's even worse. For the title, I mean. Vettel comes home in second, just about overtaking Rosberg on the final lap, and Massa comes home in fourth. Both Red Bulls recovered well, actually, to finish 5th and 6th. All the retirements are Gutierrez, Bottas, Alonso, and Hulkenberg, so they've not had a very good race weekend either. But I could say I probably had a worse one in terms of luck. So moving on to the driver's standings then, you can see that Hamilton has now retaken the lead of the driver's standings by 2 points, and Rosberg is a further 17 behind him. So, and Vettel keeps up this form. He's kind of coming back into the race. I don't know, because the Red Bull is now the fastest car, so they might start to catch up a little bit. But anyway, moving on to the constructors then, Mercedes have, I think, extended their gap to 34 points from Ferrari. So if you did enjoy this episode, please leave a like and a comment. Let's hope for better race next weekend, and or next race, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.